Hi, this is Mike.
And this is Fran.
And this is Mike and Fran Unrehearsed, episode 35. Hey, that's pretty good, Mom, huh?
Yes.
How was your weekend?
It was fine.
Good. You're listening to Mike and Fran Unrehearsed at 216 The Net. That's real life internet radio at 216thenet.com at noon on Wednesdays. Now, I hope you guys are enjoying the beautiful weather that we've been having lately. It was, I think, 84, 85, 86 over the weekend. We had a nice barbecue in the backyard at Lisa's place in Barrington. That was fantastic. You guys ever make shish kebabs? Well, guess what? That's what we did. 2 beer can chickens, of course, and shish kebab. And you know what? Came out pretty good.
We had corn on the cob and a salad.
Of course. That's all you need right there.
And then a pound cake with cream and strawberries.
We were actually going to grill a
pineapple,
but you know what? It got to be just too much looking at that beautiful pineapple to cut it up. I think I'll just have to do it another day. Is that okay, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, hey, I have an invitation for you guys, especially those folks out there that have a small business or a medium business or a large business that they want to share with 40 or 50 other wonderful networking folks that I meet with every Monday morning at 8 o'clock a.m. at a little event called Cup of Joe. Cup of Joe Networking Group. We meet every Monday at 8 a.m. Central Daylight Time on Zoom, so you don't have to be here. So if you have a small business, I encourage you to check it out and network with some folks that can help you get more business and meet some more like-minded people. I think it would be a fantastic opportunity for you. And you know how to do that? You're going to go to my website, which is www.mikeandfriendradio.com, because I've just updated it with a lot of new things on there. So go there to check out the event. And by the way, how do we get started with this show, Mom? Do you remember? It was me going to Cup of Joe, and I met a guy named Peter Galt, and he's a radio guy. He's got a great radio voice, and he was looking for some new shows for last May, and I think I recorded one of our calls when I went to the pharmacy or something like that.
Well, you were always taping in the car.
That's right.
I mean, can't begin to tell you the embarrassing things that he would tape me, and then they'd hear it, and he'd put it on Facebook, and I'd hear from a cousin or nephew in California or Jersey. Oh, Grandma, Aunt Fran, I didn't know you could talk like that. And I would come out with something like,
I know.
We missed one of our classes, our ESL classes. We went on the wrong day.
Okay.
And I came out grumbling to the car and was saying, because our class was at 10 o'clock.
I remember
and
what you
says,
said.
well, that got our asses out of bed.
That's right.
But I usually don't ever use that word. And then I heard from all these younger people on West and East Coast, oh, Aunt Fran, we like that. And I thought, I don't talk that way generally. But he taped it.
I thought it was great.
Another time we're describing something outside of Aldi's, some lady, and he tapes that, and that goes out.
Yeah.
So I had to learn to be so careful, which I didn't learn, that he was always taping what I said. So he used one of these shows when he talked to the man, and that started us off.
I used the one where I went to the pharmacy to get 2 prescriptions, and I was there for like 2.5 hours. I was talking to a new girl, Seema, and she had a real high voice, and I couldn't hear her, and I thought she was talking to the other guy in the car, and she was talking to me. Finally get up there, I get the one medication, and I call you from the car, and I go, well, I got your medication now, so I hope you're happy. And why, was it a problem? Well, yeah, the new girl, and I had to wait in line, and it was only like $2. I wish it was like $20 or $100. Would have made it worthwhile for me to be waiting in line for like 2.5 hours. And then you go, and you're telling me this, why? And I'm like, well, because that's what happened. She said, well, but you didn't want to hear about it.
No.
You just wanted your medication. And I only got one of them anyway, and I wasn't going to go back.
I was giving him a tough time.
But it was fun that I recorded it, and that's just kind of how we get along. And, we're just regular folks, just chit-chatting about things. And that's just a day in the life of Mike and Fran. Anyway, I sent in a couple of those little audio clips to Peter Galt at 216 The Net, and he goes, I love it. What are we going to call it? We thought about Mike and Fran Unplugged, but it sounded like more of a live concert kind of thing. And then we came up with
Like
Mike
a
and
plumber.
Fran. Well, no, Unplugged.
Yeah.
It's like, Aerosmith
Unrehearsed.
Unplugged. It's like, you know what I mean. Not a plumber, but
I know.
unplugged like a band that are just okay.
Right.
They just grabbed a couple guys and they're starting to play a concert. So anyway, that's when we came up with the name of Mike and Fran Unrehearsed, and I guess the rest is history. But we started off last year. We had 5, 8, 10,000 subscribers. Oh, I wish. I mean listeners, and I got excited there for a minute. Yeah. Because we always need subscribers, so go to YouTube and subscribe.
So you have like 90,000 now.
So anyway,
Yeah.
we got about 90,000 listeners right now,
yeah.
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'd like all of you to go on our YouTube channel and subscribe. And you can go to MikeandFranRadio.com and hit on any of our shows. They're all in there, and subscribe to our YouTube channel directly, and you'll get any updates for any other videos that we might post there. So that would be awesome if you could do that. So I wanted to mention now that we are on 216 The Net, obviously, at noon on Wednesdays, and we're also on Radio Garden, which gives us international coverage of 216 The Net. So you go to Radio Garden and you look up 216 The Net at noon on Wednesdays, and we're there. And then we're also on, of course, YouTube, and we're also on, on our website, MikeandFranRadio.com. I'm sorry, yeah, MikeandFranRadio.com, or MikeandFranRadio@gmail.com is our email. And then you can also go to Anchor. Now, Anchor is a great place to post your own podcast if you guys want to do your own podcast. And all of these links are going to be on my website. So my website again is MikeandFranRadio.com. You'll have links to Anchor. There's Pocket Cast now. There's Google Podcasts. There's Radio Public. And there's Spotify now, too. All linked through Anchor. Anchor.fm. So isn't that awesome? We're in all those different places right now. And if you go to our website, MikeandFranRadio.com, you'll see links to all those different areas that you can listen to us. Sound good? All right.
Okay.
Cool. A couple of the things I wanted to mention real quick is that if you have a pet, specifically a cat or a dog, and you want to call the vet and it's 2 a.m, I have a way that you can do that. And that's through a service called PetMD. PetMD will allow you to access a certified veterinarian 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for just, I think it's $11.99 a month. And you can call as many times as you want. So I'm going to put this link on our website as well for PetMD or MD Virtual Care for pets. And you can call for cats, for dogs, and soon you can call for rabbits and birds. Vince had a rabbit, didn't he, for a while? What was the name of that rabbit? You remember? That little rabbit.
I know, and he had it many years.
No, they've had it for a long time.
Shadow,
I
I
think it was. I think you're right. Anyway, if you have a snake or a lizard, I'm sorry, PetMD won't help you. But you have to bring those guys to
I
the
wouldn't
vet
help
anyway.
you either.
What are you going to do with a snake on a Zoom call? I don't even want to think about it.
Some people love them. I don't. I'm the one that's scared of them.
Dogs and cats are good. So check that out. And then one other thing I want to tell you about is something called a super app. What it is, it's an app that you can use to get discounts on everything that you're already buying. One symbol, all in one place to get discounts on anywhere you shop. You have fun with it. You save from home. You can earn money at the same time. Check out my super app little 5-minute video that I'm going to put on my website. That's awesome. We have conference calls on that every Wednesday now. Every Friday at 7 p.m. But that'll be on the website. And then I wanted to mention that my friend from Cup of Joe, Michael Geese at 67th Street Health, is going to come up with our first question from the Cup of Joe that we're going to answer next week. And the question is, the name Michael has to do with the name Michael. So he wants to know, if Fran, if you think that the name Michael means that you're going to have a kid that's going to cause trouble. Because Michael is associated with trouble.
I don't think so.
Okay, you don't think so. Well, don't answer it. Don't answer it. Don't answer it. They're going to answer it next time.
No, all right.
That's just a question.
Okay.
Oh, boy. We almost blew it there. But anyway, that's going to be the big question that we're going to ask for Michael Giese of Cup of Joe for next time around. Whew. Okay. Now we can really get started. Right, Mom? All right.
Hopefully.
So, Mom, here's our official first question of the day. What's going on with vaccinations?
Well, we're finally getting somewhere, but in some areas there are more vaccine available than there are people coming up to get it.
Yeah,
They still have to encourage more of the people to become vaccinated. Mm-hmm. They are starting to vaccinate the younger people.
Right.
At many places, starting I think with 15. I think you have to have a parent with you couple of years or at
well,
a
what they're
age.
doing is they're going to the places where the kids are, so they're making it easy for them to get vaccinated instead of having to make the kids come to them or the people come to them. And
still is
it's
the right thing to do, in my opinion. When I hear how horrible it is going in India, I was watching on television today a hospital where they filmed people. Oh, it was just tragic what was going on. Yeah. With no help, no oxygen, and people dying, and people not understanding. I was even wondering how they could possibly film this, and why I was watching it. It was just horrifying to watch.
I was talking to my doctor friend in India just today.
Really?
Yes, it's Dr. Ashu Karma from the Ayurveda Karma facility in India, where we're actually getting those vitamins and supplements for you to help you with your kidneys. And I'm talking to him today about that because we got a recent blood test and everything's looking good, Ma, so we're going in the right direction, right? Which is great. But he told me that the problem initially in India was the old people that weren't vaccinated and had no way to get vaccinated. But now it's the young people, because they have that new strain, and the new strain, I think,
very stronger, more virulent.
It gets transferred much easier, I think, with younger people because they're always moving around, and you know. And anyway, they're starting to address the problem and starting to get it under control. But it takes weeks and weeks and weeks for this thing to have an effect. And
they have such a huge population.
You know, it's like 1.4 billion people. I think there's only 100 million difference in population between India and China, but they're both way up there. Anyway, all right, we got off on India a little bit. So what else is new with vaccinations, Ma? What are they saying?
Well, I will go from the vaccination to the fact that the airlines are now opening up, and people are now that feel they've been held in for a while are getting ready to travel.
Right.
Not all of them want to travel by car or train or something, like going to the national parks or relatives, or like us, we're flying out to Oregon in June to family. Yeah. But a lot of people want to take vacations and go overseas.
You mean because they've been cooped up for so long?
That's right.
And finally have an opportunity.
People travel a lot to Europe and to other areas.
Maybe now they finally have a chance to travel because they've been cooped up at home because of COVID and everything. So the next question then, I guess, would be, where would you want to travel to besides Oregon?
Where would I want to travel? Oh, well, I've been fortunate in my life. I have been able to travel when I was younger and sang in the chorus with the Harper Festival Chorus with Anthony Mastardo, our director, who was also the principal of my school where I taught.
Right.
And we went to England and Scotland, and we went to Italy twice, and went to Austria, Switzerland, Yugoslavia. And then I went later without going to the chorus, to Spain, Portugal, and Rock of Gibraltar. So I have been to a good number of places.
So wait. So does that mean that you would not probably want to revisit those because you've been there, or there's other ones that you've always been to that you haven't been to yet?
There's other ones that I'd like to go to that I never have. I'd like to go to Japan. You went there once.
Yeah.
And when my parents went to Australia, I was so envious. Australia and New Zealand always been fascinating with Aussies. And I would like to, always being an architecture major, but go to the pyramids, to Egypt and the Greek to see the Parthenon. There were certain things I always wanted to see.
Yeah.
And I never did get to Paris. You went to Paris.
I did.
My daughters went to Paris.
I did.
But I never got to Paris. So there's a lot of places that I would like to travel to, even Alaska, which I have not been to. But there's a lot of places I would like to go. Now, where would you like to go? You've been to Italy, and you were in Korea and Japan.
Yeah, that was so long ago. It was different then. I didn't know that much about where I was. I was just so young.
You were there for the Olympics.
I went there in '88 for the Olympics because
Korea.
And in Seoul, they were having the '88 Olympics, and it was the first year that they had Taekwondo as an Olympic event. And at the time, I was taking Taekwondo classes with my friend Michael Wendis, and they decided to go to Korea, and we sort of tagged along. Man, we didn't really see a lot of the Olympics, but we did get to see Korea, and we went on a bus, and we traveled the countryside, and it was real interesting, real interesting, different culture.
Ooh, that reminds me. You saw off of the bus the man with the snake in a sack?
Oh, yeah.
A bag that he was taking to eat?
So we had a designated driver, and we're cruising around in this little minivan, and we see this old man walking on the side of the road with all these twigs piled way up on his back, and I'm not sure what he was doing, but he was carrying all this stuff tied up there on his back, and he was bent over, and he had one of those pointy hats on, straw hats, and he had a stick probably about like 3 or 4 feet long, and at the end of the stick was a skinny snake that he caught, and he was just walking the street, and my driver saw him, and he pulled right over. And I go, what's he doing? And he gives him money, and he gives him the snake. He puts it in a little sack, and he ties it up, and he puts it underneath his seat.
Oh, so he bought it.
And I go, what are you doing? He goes, that snake's good. It's good food. I go, well, what's it good for? What do you eat it for? He goes, stamina. Good for stamina.
Well, people...
So ever since that, everything we ate in Korea was good for stamina. Stamina.
Well, out west, rattlesnakes people have eaten, and I guess they always say they taste like chicken. Don't they say everything tastes like chicken? Yeah.
Like frog legs, I guess.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, so we took a little tour around Busan down there. We saw kids on trampolines on the ocean. It was kind of interesting. It was a cousin of a tour guide guy, so he wasn't really like seeing all the sights officially, but we were in Korea, and then we went to Japan, Michael and I, because we had some friends from college that we knew. In fact, it was
roommates you had.
My first roommate was Japanese, so we saw Tetsuro was there, Hidenori, Safumi, Masa, Hiroaki, and Takitomi.
Yeah.
Not all of them were there, but we noticed a couple different things in the houses there that we went to. Was the size of the Buddha meant the size of their income, the level of income they had. So if we go into one little house and there's a little Buddha shrine, a little tiny little thing that has traces of gold on it, they're like, middle class maybe. But we go to the other guy in Nagoya that owned a fancy pastry shop down there and drove BMWs, and they had a huge, gold Buddha. They made some really good money. So that's one thing that I noticed, and a lot of people that I told about didn't really notice that. But to me, it was just a way to kind of see what sort of income the household was earning by the size of the Buddha. I thought that was interesting. So I went to Korea and I went to Japan to visit my friends.
Yeah, and you went to...
Well, I'd love to go back because now I know a lot more about Japan by watching the NHK channel with you. and all the different kind of foods that are seasonal and the different kind of things you can see there. And it's always amazing.
And you went to Italy, too.
Well, it's always amazing of all the things that you could do in Japan by watching that show. And it seems like it's like a lot bigger than what it really is. But there's cold weather up here and there's hot weather down here, and it's vertical, and it's like, wow, it's just amazing. Yeah. I went with Old St. Pat's church group in downtown Chicago. Had a youth group that I was in. They'll probably kick me out of there now. But we went to France. We went to Italy with that group, and it was great. And we got to see a lot of things. And then I wound up going to England and Stonehenge and things like that. But we went to Rome and Italy, and we went north all the way up to Venice. And Florence and Assisi and everything in between.
That's where I went, yeah.
But I never got to go to southern Italy, which is supposedly where our relatives are from. So that would be Sicily and Naples. Never went there. So I would want to go there. I'd want to go to Sicily and Naples. I'd want to go a lot of places.
You went to Ireland to see where your car was made.
Yeah.
You had a Mini Cooper.
Well, actually, the car was made in England.
Oh.
But I did go to Ireland for a wedding.
Oh.
Yeah, I did. So that was kind of interesting. That was a real trip.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of fun. But, if I travel now, I think I'd get a lot more out of it because I haven't traveled in such a long time. I would definitely go to Italy, Sicily, Naples, find somebody with my last name and open the door and give them a big hug. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mom?
Well, that would be in Sicily. With your last name, Grandma was from Naples and Grandpa was from Sicily.
No, either one, man. They're both right down there.
Right.
We kind of lost touch, which is kind of sad. But
okay.
That's where I would want to go, and then I want to go back to Japan too and do all the things that we see on TV that we can do there. It's just an amazing place, and I think it would be a lot of fun. All right, so here's a question for you, Mom. What did you want to be when you grew up, when you were a little kid?
Oh, when I was a little kid, I think I went around and they called me Little Garbo. I wanted to be an actress. And then I wanted to be a singer when I sang with the band, with Carl Gutman's band. But I also always had again to be an archaeologist. I went on a digs once, I think from National College, out on the Mississippi River, and hung on the sides over the cliffs and the rocks. And then somebody said, be careful when you put your foot in there, there are snakes in there. Well, that sort of scared the devil out of me, because they come out, they're cold-blooded, to get warm on the rocks.
Oh, yeah.
And, it was so interesting, though, to look for fossils and things. The railroad had cut through and the long thing, and it was one of the most interesting days of my life on that digs.
I bet it was.
I liked it.
And you were how old then, you think?
Oh, I was 18, 19, 20.
Okay.
I think in there.
Okay.
No, I was older than that. I did that here.
Oh.
I did that here. I had to be in my 30s or 40s when I was teaching national. I took that class as an education class.
All right. Well,
I was in my 30s, 40s when I did it.
Oh, you weren't a kid.
Yeah, because I did it when I was here, not in Oregon.
Yep. Okay.
I bet I could guess what you're going to say. When you were little, what you wanted to be, Michael.
What? What was it?
Well, you watched that movie.
Movie?
I mean, that TV show, Lost in Space.
Oh, boy.
So what was it you wanted to be?
I guess an astronaut.
Yep, you were into that show. For some reason, if I remember correctly, we didn't have color TV or something, and you went over to the neighbors, to the Shermans, to watch that show every week.
That's right.
Billy, Mummy, and that little show of Lost in Space.
Yeah, that ridiculous show.
And you just loved it.
Well, I was like, 8 years old, whatever.
I know.
It was a show to watch that was kind of interesting. Science fiction and, out of this world and kind of silly and ridiculous. But for a kid, I'm sure a lot of kids watch that show. I think when I was in Cub Scouts, or I think you had me in a peony parade, I was dressed as a spaceman.
Yep.
Remember that? So
Yep.
we have that on
when they
film
did
somewhere.
the parades.
The
in
one
Elko.
guy in the spaceman, and that was me, because
Yeah.
I always wanted to be the
Yeah.
astronaut guy, which was kind of funny. But I think later on, I guess I wanted to sort of do something on my own, so I studied engineering rather than to tag along with Dad and do something at the, CBS studios.
He was
down
a film
there,
editor there.
WBBM Studios. He was a film editor for Channel 2 TV. And I don't know, he just didn't really encourage me to get into that field, although I was somewhat interested in it. But, for him it was just kind of a job after a while. No, I don't know. In any case, I wound up doing my own thing, engineering. I went to school. I did graduate, got a bachelor's of science in electrical engineering. I got a job, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. So I finally, 7-year itch. They were doing layoffs. I'm like, get me out of here. And
you
then
were in
I started going
Georgia
to.
then,
I started going. No, it was way after that.
Oh.
I went down there for a little bit, but that, I came back and it was a whole different company, and I really wanted to get out of there. And then I got involved with acting in Second City and Players Workshop and performing arts, and then I got an agent, and I started doing some acting gigs. I spent my savings from Northrop, where I worked, building a fashion show production company of all things, which was an area that I knew absolutely nothing about, but it was better than engineering, and I tried my best to try to get it off the ground with the photographer friend of mine, and we actually tried to do a couple of fashion shows in Chicago, if you could believe that. That was just crazy. I would interview models in this office in the Fine Arts Building, and my buddy from across the hall would be knocking on my door at the end of the day going, what in the hell's going on here, man? I see all these girls walking back and forth and spinning and, tossing their jackets off, and I'm like, well, it's a modeling agency. We're doing runway. Oh, my God, really? Could I do something to help out, maybe? Spray the girls with water or something like that? I go, no, get out of here.
Though.
Get out of here.
Didn't work out.
Anyway, I got involved with the acting bug, early in my career, and I still have an agent today, and I still get involved. In fact, Saturday I'll be playing a cop in one of my friends' films, small bit parts. But eventually, we'll write our own films, short films, and maybe shoot some documentaries, because I just love that kind of stuff. Anyway, I hope that answers your question, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
It does.
Okay. All right, Mom, so here's one for you. What favorite talk show would you have liked to have been on?
Oh, that's easy. Oprah Winfrey.
Oh.
I think she's one of the best in the world.
Absolutely.
And I've always admired her and her intelligence and her what she does. And for a man, David Letterman was my favorite of all the people interviewing people.
He was a real down-to-earth guy.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. What about Johnny Carson?
Oh, yeah. He was clever.
He was clever. He was a good interviewer. He let the people talk, and he talked, and he laughed, and he made jokes, and he was there to let them shine. And that's what I think David Letterman did, too. Mm-hmm. He was a great interviewer. And he had a lot of fun, and he was surprised at things that we would be surprised at, and I thought it was great.
Jimmy Kimmel wasn't too bad.
Jimmy Kimmel would be okay, too. I think out of the guys that are out there now, we tend to listen to him more than anyone else. And then Oprah Winfrey, of course, would have been an awesome person to have an interview. But, there's still time. Right, Mom?
Yep. All righty.
I think there's still time.
Okay.
So I guess that's it for us. See you guys next week. Happy Mother's Day.
When my mother was living, I used to send my mother a big bouquet of flowers on Mother's Day, because she birthed me. Oh, it was her day.
That's great.
Have a happy one, folks.
Well, happy Mother's Day, Mom. We're going to go, Chinese maybe?
I don't know. We'll see.
All right, sounds
Surprise me.
I'll do my best. Goodbye now.
Bye.